So come on down to the fascia here, then we'll go up that barge. Huh? Huh? The fascia there.
Oh.
Then the barge.
What's a barge?
Your gable. Barge.
That end board?
We can do our barge first.
Oh, so it's a fascia for the truck for the gable.
Yeah.
Okay.
Barge first and fascia.
I'm here. You got that marked, Rob?
I sure do. What is it? Oh, that one's marked.
Rob thinks he's in Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
Is that what that's about?
What?
The Thundercat.
Mortal Kombat.
Got a hold of it, I'm gonna grab my gun. Yeah. Ah, that old cartoon.
Oh yeah, Thundercats. That's funny.
No, I got a good hand on it.
I do too. Right there, don't move it.
Yeah. It's got a bow in it, so.
So we got the sub fascia on that piece.
Got a mark.
Still got to do
It's gonna be fun.
that end. That's kind of what we're working on. All right, I'm here with Bob and we're going to talk about framing a little bit. Starting with when we did the sill plate on top of this wall, we put in a 2x10 pressure treated on sill sealer. So it's that Dow blue foam stuff that you put between your sill and the concrete, and that supposedly helps protect the sill from any moisture in the concrete. And we also used a pressure treated board, so supposedly that'll help even more. The other thing it does, I think, is help seal any gaps between your concrete and your sill. And then we went ahead and doubled up the sill, and what we put on top of that, a 2x6?
2x8.
2x8, so we have a double sill plate. And that was Bob's suggestion. For one, the anchor bolts were a little too long, so the threads were sticking up too far, so we ended up really kind of having to double up the sill plate. But the other thing that helped was we were able to tie all the walls into the sill. And that was Bob's experience coming into play there. So you can see kind of the top of that closet, that top plate ties into the sill plate, and everywhere that a wall butts up against the exterior wall, that's what they've done. So that gives you quite a bit more strength. And we had some people asking about headers above doors and windows, and jack studs and king studs, and people were like, what's a jack stud, what's a king stud? So I'm gonna let Bob kind of point out, or kind of go over what all these are, all these pieces in this door frame here. I'm gonna go point out what each of those are called and why they're...
You got your trimmer here.
That's a trimmer?
Which a lot of people call them the jack stud. I call them trimmer, jack studs. Then you got your king stud that runs alongside your header. You got headers. There's a bearing wall. The joist broke over, which goes down to the beam below. So everything's bearing there. Anywhere, because we have a conventional floor framing up here. Now if it was trusses, you could use different headers over in these areas, but since it's conventional framing, you got to put a bearing header above.
Okay. And then you put blocking in between the joists there where they fall on this center load bearing wall.
Which above we even have another bearing wall that stacks on top of this.
Right, so the whole house sits along that center line, which all transfers down to the beam and the posts in the basement below. So that gives you your sturdiness, I
So then we
suppose.
try to line up our rafters. All of floor joists will stack above all of our studs, so we pull same layout, so you have inline framing, they call it.
Inline framing. So every joist falls on a stud, every stud sets on a joist below, all the rafters, all the way to the roof, right?
Yes.
That's pretty cool. See, that's not something I would have thought about
Yeah.
or done. And that's why I waited for a year for you to get out here and do it for us.
Well, we're glad to do it for you.
All right, what else is cool and unique about what we've done here? A lot of it has to do with this cathedral ceiling area. You know, all this has to be stick built. We could have potentially done trusses on the other end of the house over there, but you need to get out here. You're not really going to truss this because trusses take up a lot of room, and the way we kind of designed this end wall, we wanted as many windows as we could get in here, and so that ended up, you know, building all this scaffolding and everything to get all that. It has to be stick framed, and this gable end wall is kind of, I guess they call it balloon framing.
Yes, it's balloon framing.
Yeah, and that's basically stick building it from there all the way up, instead of like platform framing, which we'd normally do. So these are what, 20-foot 2x10 rafters we're doing
For the cathedral ceiling,
for the ceiling.
for insulation.
Yeah, so we'll be able to spray foam in those and get our R value. I think the engineer had said if you're not going to spray foam, you're going to want to use 2x12s to get your R38. I was like, well, I don't want to be messing with 20-foot 2x12s that high. But that was before I met you guys, and you get up there like it's nothing. So what else we got here? So the upstairs above the cathedral ceiling area is that's a 6-foot knee wall, and then where it hits the floor system, that's a 5-foot knee wall on top of that to keep everything, you know, right. We didn't do a full 8-foot stud, just I think mostly for aesthetic reasons, but that was more work because every stud you're having to cut to length, you know. And I put a lot of work on Bob with all these cool design features, but in practical, you know, when it comes to practice, things like this dormer here, I wanted a big window in there, and he was asking, well, are we putting a ceiling above it? And I was like, well, I don't think we can. So we turned that into a vaulted dormer. And, you know, on the fly, he's like, all right, let's just cut this and move that and put this there. And so we ended up with that dormer up there does have a ceiling. So that's going to be a bathroom. So we wanted a ceiling there so you could fit your vents and lights and all that in it. And this one up here does not have a ceiling. It's vaulted. So that changes how you build the roof. And so they're going to have to start sheeting from the bottom there up and get to a certain place before they can finish framing this out. Is that right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's right. That way we can build some walls on top of the sheeting, then go on up with the rest of the roof over that area.
All right.
We'll have cathedral valleys and ridges and all that in there. So the ceiling will follow the roof line.
Right. Right, and then we have so that beam follows all the way over to where that wall is, and then there'll be a post inside that wall, really as a bearing for that span. So it'll span from kind of where that scaffolding is. You can see a little post behind it on top of that wall. It'll span from there all the way over to there, and that's pretty close to being on the post below in the basement, I think.
Yes, it's within inches.
Yeah, so from that very top all the way down through the wall down to the that's like where the post is in the basement that sits on that footer. And then that'll all be a wall, and there'll be conditioned attic space above those. Those are bedrooms up there. So we're going to spray foam the whole roof, making that attic space above that wall conditioned space, so we could put an air handler in there, and then you're not heating or cooling unconditioned air, and plus we'll have a little bit of storage. All right?
That's right.
Anything else you can think of that you do that you don't think about? Like when they built the stairs, the stairs weren't really part of what we were going to have them do, but he was here and he had time and he started cutting them, and then I had a couple people ask, well, why did you put the 2x4s along the stringers there?
That gives it extra strength.
Yeah,
because it's all freestanding.
Yeah, so it's all, you're not going to see it anyway. It's going to be all finished when it's done. It'll be covered with finished material, so that kind of, you know, doubles or triples your strength, I would think.
Well, this, like this 2x4 here, because we'll have a knee wall that comes up above here, but this gives you room in between for your kickboard for going upside the stairs on both sides. And we always put a 2x4 on each side of the center stringer to give it extra strength.
Right.
If not, then you'd want to hit some kind of header in here. If that's a long span, it'd be springy.
Right, we don't want that. All right. One of the other cool things that he did that I didn't even think about, when we were building this subfloor, you probably remember we had the planer out and we were shaving off the top of the ledger boards with that planer. But when it came to do this sill plate on top, the top of the concrete was not super level or flat, so they just kind of shaved out where it needed to be adjusted. So you can see that top plate, they just chiseled out so that all the joists were flat and level, which is a pretty cool trick that I never saw before, and I thought that was kind of cool. Just a bunch of little extra pieces of work that you don't ever think about, that, you know, that's why we have Bob doing this with us, for us. So that's kind of a little Q&A with Bob. Next thing we're going to start doing is sheeting the roof, and we'll get to that right now. Got the subfascia boards on. Looking pretty good. We're going to try and get at least 1 and possibly 2 rows done, and then pick it back up tomorrow. Alright, it's day 7 of framing. Day 7 of framing, and it rained a little bit last night, so we got some water here. Boys are back doing sheeting this morning, so hopefully we'll get this roof on today, because I only got him 1 more day after today. And we're going to get all this sheeting on, get the underlayment on top of it. Let's go check it out. Oh look, there's 1 bedroom.
Put me right there, Rob.
Right there.
And now it'll be set ahead.
Yeah, baby.
Reach out here and hit that one. Right there. He's got it on.
Accuracy.
Take that.
Moves easy, huh?
Get off. Yeah, right there. Alright.
So you guys are spacing these rafters as you go. Straighten them up.
Yes, sir.
10-4.
There you go. I'll take that.
Oh, Rob, you broke your sunglasses.
Yeah! I took an LVL to the head. They didn't break. I leaned like this against the wall a little bit ago. They cracked.
Oh, that's... man.
Yeah! I took an LVL to the head.
Casualty of war.
Yep.
Watch your foot.
There it is. I got it. 5/8 ain't no joke, is it? And just stand it up. Now you get it right to it. Alright. Hold on 1 second. Alright, we can lean it up there. I gotta put my clips on. Yeah, that's how I should just get them ready. Oh. Let me put one in right here. Gotcha. Yeah, I was just getting them ready for you. Oh wait, that ain't gonna be a whole sheet, but it's over there. I'll give you the measurement.
All right.
All right, I'm showing a half, so go 65 3/8.
65 3/8.
Yep, this is your seam, and then I'll pull the layout. That's good, right?
Yeah.
All right, hit it. Is that tacked or 16?
16.
That's $1. Ah.